Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take, well, a whole stack of interesting sources, cut through the noise, and really pull out the essential knowledge. We want to give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. Today, we're plunging into a concept that's just so foundational to, well, being human. It's one that quietly promises, I think, greater peace, resilience, maybe even wisdom in a world that often feels, pretty chaotic.
Absolutely. It's crucial stuff.
And for this deep dive, our main insights are coming from Chapter 3 on acceptance. It's from Dr. Nader Attalla's work, which we both found incredibly compelling.
Really insightful, yeah.
So our mission today, we want to unpack this profound concept of acceptance and hopefully arm you with some actual strategies for navigating life's bumps in the road. Things you can use. Get ready maybe for a fresh perspective on a key life skill. And to kick us off, we're starting with this ancient story. For me, it just perfectly sets the scene for everything we're about to explore. Picture this old farmer, right? His face tells a story not just of weather, but with this quiet understanding of how life works.
You can almost see him.
Yeah. He's standing by his field, kind of untouched by all the drama unfolding around him. So one day, his horse, which is, vital for his livelihood, it just bolts, runs off. Disappears.
Oh, wow. Okay.
His neighbors, they all rush over, full of sympathy, saying, "Oh, that's terrible luck, friend, just awful." The farmer, with that quiet wisdom, he just sort of shrugs and replies, "Maybe."
Maybe, just like that.
Just maybe. Then, the very next morning, everyone's completely stunned because the horse returns, and it's not alone. It brings back 3 wild horses with it. The neighbors are ecstatic. Extraordinary good fortune. Look at this.
Right, a total reversal.
And the farmer, he just says, "Maybe." Same calm expression. That maybe is really sticking with me.
It's powerful, isn't it? That refusal to label things immediately.
Exactly. So the story continues. The next day, the farmer's son tries to break one of these new wild horses. He gets thrown off hard, breaks his leg.
Oh, yeah.
The neighbors come back, faces all long and concerned. "How truly unfortunate," they sigh, shaking their heads. The farmer's response, again, just that simple, profound maybe.
Still holding that space.
Then a twist. Military officials show up. They're going house to house, conscripting young men for a dangerous war. Many won't come back.
Right. The stakes are high.
They look at the farmer's son, see the broken leg, and they just move on, pass him by. The neighbors, some whose sons were taken, gathered again. "How incredibly fortunate you are," they declare. And still the farmer's wisdom comes through in that one word, maybe. It's just, wow, let's really unpack this.
It truly is. Well, what's so compelling about this story is how it immediately forces you to consider this profound wisdom of non-attachment, specifically non-attachment to outcomes we just can't control. How often do we do that? Rush to judgment, slap a label on things. This is good, this is bad. Definitive labels. But as the farmer shows us, reality teaches us we simply cannot know the ripple effects. Today's disaster might be tomorrow's unexpected blessing, or vice versa.
We just don't have that bigger picture.
Exactly. That maybe isn't apathy. It's acknowledging the vast, unpredictable nature of life's connections.
Yeah.
Our instinct, often, when change happens, is to zoom in on the negatives. We worry, we overthink, we build these huge expectations in our heads, and then when reality doesn't match those expectations, we create all this extra emotional turmoil for ourselves. But change, it naturally has both shadow and light. We just can't predict the proportions like the farmer understood with every twist and turn.
He wasn't resisting any part of it.
No. And this leads us straight into what ancient traditions called the middle way. There's that beautiful Chinese proverb, "Do not push the river, it flows by itself."
I like that.
It represents that sweet spot, that balance point where we honor life's paradoxes. We recognize that experiences rarely fit neatly into good or bad boxes.
It's usually more complex.
Way more complex. We might not instantly achieve the farmer's level of calm, but we can practice finding that middle ground in our daily lives. Being open, like the farmer, to unexpected outcomes on both sides of a situation. Not just rigidly deciding this is terrible or this is fantastic. It's about humility, really, in the face of life just unfolding.
That farmer's maybe, it really sets the stage. It wasn't just about farming. It perfectly illustrates what modern psychology now terms radical acceptance. And this concept, maybe surprisingly, holds a key to navigating our own, sometimes bewildering personal storms.
It really does.
Think of it like this. You're caught in a sudden downpour, no umbrella. Okay? You basically have 2 choices.
Right.
You can rage against the rain, yell, stomp your feet, wish it away, which does absolutely nothing, by the way.
Been there. Doesn't help.
Or you can just accept that you're getting wet. Radical acceptance is choosing the second option, not because you like being wet. Definitely not.
No, it's not preference.
It's just the stark recognition that fighting reality only piles suffering on top of discomfort. It's saying, okay, this is happening. But it's surprisingly tough for us to just be with what is, isn't it?
It's incredibly tough. Our brains are wired to fix things, right? So non-acceptance often feels like we're doing something, even when it's totally futile, like yelling at the clouds.
Yeah, like we're fighting back.
Exactly. And this concept, radical acceptance, as you mentioned, it has deep roots in Buddhist philosophy. It's seen as a path to liberation there. And then it was brilliantly integrated into dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, by the psychologist Marshall Linehan.
Ah, yes, DBT.
She saw it as a crucial skill for distress tolerance. At its heart, radical acceptance means saying a full yes to life's flow. Whether that flow feels good or awful, makes sense, or seems completely random.
Yes to all of it.
Yes. It aligns perfectly with what Lao Tzu said ages ago. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like.
Let reality be reality. Simple, but so hard.
It is, and that ties into a really critical distinction.
Yeah.
The difference between pain and suffering.
Okay.
When we face unwanted stuff like, say, a tough diagnosis or losing a job, it's normal to feel that primal fight or flight kick in, that fear, that shock. That's pain. It's unavoidable, part of being alive.
Right, the initial hit.
Yeah, but here's the key. As we cultivate acceptance, we learn to let go of the negative emotional attachments that drag out and amplify that initial pain.
The add-ons.
Exactly, the add-ons. Like your beach day gets rained out. The initial disappointment, that's the pain. Okay, bummer. But spending the next 3 hours fuming, replaying how unfair it is, feeling miserable, that's the suffering. That's the secondary layer, the part we often inflict on ourselves by refusing to accept the reality.
Yeah.
It's raining.
That's such a crucial distinction, the suffering often being self-created. It makes me wonder then, for someone listening, how do you even start to unlearn that ingrained reflex, that default to this isn't fair or why me? It feels so automatic.
It is incredibly automatic, visceral, like you said. But here's the liberating part. Stepping out of that narrative. While we can't control the rain or other people or accidents,
The external stuff.
right, we always retain authority over our response. That's our domain. We always have the choice to swap out those corrosive feelings, bitterness, anger, unhappiness, with acceptance, maybe even love or compassion for ourselves in the situation. Acceptance becomes like this shield against letting the external completely dictate our internal state. It's choosing your inner weather, regardless of the outer storm,
Right.
just like the farmer did with every single maybe.
Choosing your inner landscape. I like that. So if this is about choice, how do we actually do it? What are the practical steps to grow this radical acceptance muscle, especially when it feels so, well, abstract? Our source outlines 4 key steps from Buddhist thought and DBT.
Yes, let's break those down. The first step, and maybe the most fundamental starting point, is simply to notice that you are fighting reality.
Okay, awareness first.
Exactly. Become aware of when you're resisting what is. Ask yourself honestly, do any of these patterns sound familiar? For instance, are you carrying bitterness or resentment about things that happened maybe years ago? Like stones in your pocket, as the saying goes, weighing you down.
Yeah, grudges.
Or do you often think your life should be different? Do thoughts starting with, it should be, or if only, run through your head a lot?
Definitely recognize that one.
Another big one is when unhappiness or frustration feels like the background noise of your life and you believe happiness is conditional. I'll be happy when I get that promotion or when I move or when I retire.
Putting happiness on layaway.
Precisely. You're delaying your well-being, waiting for external circumstances to align perfectly. And lastly, do you spend a lot of energy trying to force other people to change their behavior? Which, let's be honest, is often like trying to push that river.
Right, incredibly draining and usually ineffective.
It exhausts us, trying to control what's ultimately uncontrollable in others.
That last one, trying to change others, really hits home for many, I think. But for someone listening who does recognize these patterns, maybe they're in a genuinely tough long-term situation. How do they move past feeling that their reality should be different without just giving up or becoming passive?
That is the absolute core challenge, isn't it? And it leads directly to the second step. Once you've noticed the resistance, the next move is to actively turn your mind toward acceptance.
Okay, make the turn.
Yeah, and it's usually not one giant leap. Think of it more like crossing a stream on stepping stones. It starts with an internal commitment, a conscious decision. Okay, I'm going to stop fighting this specific thing right now.
A decision.
Yes. And you can help your mind pivot by deliberately reminding yourself, this unpleasant reality exists exactly as it is. It happened. I cannot change the past. Saying it plainly, this is what happened.
Facing it squarely.
Exactly, like standing before that huge boulder on your path. You can wear yourself out pushing it. Or you can acknowledge, okay, there's a boulder here, and then figure out how to navigate around it. Acknowledgement first.
You're right.
And it's also vital to recognize the causes and conditions behind the reality, many of which are outside your control. Remind yourself, this is how it happened. Think of a complex tapestry. Each situation arises from countless threads, innumerable causes, many totally invisible to us.
Like the farmer didn't know why the horse came back with friends, just that it did.
Precisely. Accepting that intricate web of causes that frees you from the blame game, from feeling responsible for things you couldn't possibly influence. You stop trying to untangle the entire universe.
So it's acknowledging the what and the how, recognizing the bigger forces. And step 3 makes it clear this isn't just thinking differently, right? It says you need to use your body and mind to help you. Acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's an active practice involving your whole being.
Absolutely, your whole being. You actively engage tools like accepting self-talk, relaxation, deep breathing, mindfulness, or even powerful imagery to help anchor this shift. Let's talk about some of those visualization techniques because they can be really effective.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay, one is picturing yourself in a peaceful, sunlit meadow. You watch your thoughts and emotions, even the difficult ones, the ones you're resisting, just float by like clouds in a big blue sky. Observe them. Don't grab them. Let them drift.
Okay, like detaching a bit.
Exactly. Another is imagining yourself by a clear stream.
Mm.
Your thoughts and emotions are like leaves floating past on the current. Again, you just watch them go by. You don't have to jump in after them.
Visual separation.
Or picture your thoughts and feelings written in the sand on a beach, then watch the waves come in and wash them away, leaving the shore smooth. It emphasizes their temporary nature.
I like that one, the impermanence.
Yeah. And one more. Visualize thoughts and emotions passing through a doorway. It opens, they pass through, it closes behind them, they continue their journey, but you remain. You are the space through which they pass, not the thoughts themselves.
Powerful images.
And a massive part of this step involves actively letting go of negative self-talk. Your mind really is like a garden. What you plant grows. If you've been watering weeds of negativity for years,
It takes effort to plant flowers.
it takes patience and persistence.
Yes.
Constantly ruminating on negative self-talk just fuels overwhelming emotions. It's like pouring fertilizer on those weeds.
So what are some common weeds people should look out for?
Oh, they're common. Things like, people always hurt me. I can't trust anyone. I'm unlovable. Something's wrong with me. I'm broken. Or maybe it's performance-based. I'm an idiot. I can't do anything right. I'm a failure. I'm incompetent. Or future-oriented fears. No one will ever love me. No one cares. Everyone leaves. I'll be alone forever. Or worthiness issues. I don't deserve happiness, success, love. These thoughts can become so automatic, like a default setting.
And consciously countering those takes real work, like actively planting different seeds. Instead of, I'm a failure, maybe consciously saying, mistakes happen, nobody's perfect, this is a chance to learn.
Exactly. Or replacing this situation will last forever with this sucks right now, but it's temporary and I can handle temporary things.
Or even acknowledging the feeling, but affirming strength. I'm strong, I can deal with this. Or that classic phrase, this too shall pass, maybe adding, it might pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass.
Yes. Or even acknowledging anxiety. I can be anxious and still handle this situation.
Yeah.
Reminding yourself of past resilience. I survived tough things before. I'll survive this too.
We're drawing on past strength.
And crucially, framing emotions as temporary. These are just feelings. They feel intense now, but they will eventually go away, like those clouds. And giving yourself permission, it's okay to feel sad or scared sometimes. It's human.
That permission feels huge.
It is. And building on that positive self-talk, you can use specific acceptance coping statements.
Yes.
These are like anchors for your mind in the reality of the moment without judgment.
Okay, like what?
Simple. Direct things like, I can't change what's already happened, or it's no use fighting the past. A powerful one. Fighting the past only blinds me to my present.
Because the present is where the power is.
Exactly. The present is the only moment I have control over. Or reminding yourself it's a waste of time to fight what has already occurred. And then embracing the bigger picture, like the farmer. This moment is exactly as it should be, given everything that came before it.
That takes some pressure off.
It does. And this moment is a result of a million other decisions and events. These aren't about liking it, just acknowledging the factual reality, like a scientist observes data. And, of course, a timeless tool for this mindset is the serenity prayer. It just perfectly captures the essence. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference.
It's a classic for a reason.
It truly is.
Yeah.
A daily reminder of that balance.
Okay, so we notice the resistance, we turn our minds, we use our body and mind. And then the fourth step, which can feel a bit tricky, act as if. Even when you don't feel acceptance, maybe you're really struggling. The idea is to behave as though you have accepted it. This can feel like faking it till you make it for some people, maybe a bit inauthentic. How do you square that?
That's a really fair point. It's not about faking emotions or pretending you feel something you don't. It's more about behavioral activation. It's choosing actions that align with an acceptance mindset, even if your feelings are lagging behind.
Okay, actions first.
Yes. Ask yourself, if I did radically accept this situation, if I truly had that farmer's maybe perspective, how would my behavior change? What would I do differently? What emotions might actually surface if I stopped fighting so hard? Maybe list those actions. What would accepting look like in practice for you in this situation? Mentally rehearse it. And importantly, this isn't about squashing feelings. Allow yourself to fully feel the disappointment, the sadness, the grief. Let them be there. And then practice releasing their grip through these accepting actions.
So feel it, then act from acceptance.
Yes. And if you're really stuck resisting, try a simple pros and cons list. What do I gain by fighting this reality? What do I lose? Often the only pro of resistance is a false sense of control that actually keeps us stuck and suffering.
Yeah, it's clarifying.
So, for you listening right now, maybe take a moment. What problems or situations in your life are calling out for more acceptance? Where are you chronically resisting? Just identifying them is a huge first step.
That's a really valuable exercise. Now let's tackle some big misunderstandings. These often stop people cold from even trying acceptance. A huge one is the belief that accepting something means you approve of it, or like it, or think it's okay.
Oh, absolutely. This may be the biggest barrier.
Like, if I accept this bad situation, I'm saying it's fine, or I'm letting someone off the hook, or I'm resigning myself to misery. Why is that view so common and so wrong?
It's critical to get this right. Acceptance is not approval. Accepting reality doesn't mean you endorse it or like it. It simply means acknowledging that it is. It's the difference between saying, I really wish this hadn't happened, which can coexist with acceptance, versus saying, this didn't happen, which is denial.
One accepts reality, the other rejects it.
Precisely. And fighting reality, as we've seen, just ramps up our emotional reaction and adds that layer of suffering. Pain is inevitable. Touching the hot stove hurts. But the suffering often comes from refusing to accept the burn, wishing it away, raging against the stove. Suffering arises when we refuse to accept losses, changes, imperfections. We cling to how we wanted things to be. Think about grieving. The classic stages: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. They aren't always neat steps people bounce around, but acceptance is where integration happens. Accepting a loss doesn't mean you're happy about it. It means you acknowledge its reality, its permanence. And that frees you up to actually process the grief instead of staying stuck fighting the undeniable.
Okay, that makes sense. So not approval. What about passivity? People worry acceptance means just giving up, letting things happen to you.
Another huge misconception. Acceptance is not passivity. It's not just lying down and taking whatever comes. Radical acceptance actually combines seeing reality clearly with a deep commitment to growth and positive action. You have to accept what is before you can effectively work towards what could
You
be.
need to know the starting point.
Exactly. You can't navigate from A to B if you refuse to acknowledge you're at A. Trying to fix a leaky roof while pretending it isn't leaking.
Yeah.
Pointless. Ranting, blaming, judging, whether yourself or others, just drains your energy. Acceptance redirects that energy. It's this shift from this shouldn't be happening to, okay, this is happening. Now what's my wisest response? It's the farmer's maybe. Again, ready to act effectively based on the actual situation, not the one you wish you had.
Okay.
Remember those three principles. Problem. Try to solve or avoid it. Can't solve or avoid, accept it. But even when you can solve or avoid it, keep acceptance as your foundation. Act from clarity, not reactivity.
good framework. And it's also not suppression, right? Pushing feelings down.
Absolutely not. It is not suppression or repression.
Yeah.
Acceptance is fundamentally different. Suppression is consciously pushing feelings away. Repression is unconscious. But either way, denied emotions don't vanish. They go underground. And fester. They cause internal damage and always find a way back up, often sideways, projected onto other people or situations, causing physical issues, psychological knots, relationship problems. That old wisdom holds. If you don't like something on the outside, check it from the inside. Trying to suppress what is just guarantees it pops up somewhere else, often unexpectedly.
So it's about feeling it, acknowledging it, not squashing it. And it's not a one-shot deal either, is it? You don't just achieve acceptance and you're done.
Not at all. That's another key point. It is not a one-time thing. Radical acceptance isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a continuous journey, a practice. Life constantly throws things at us that require renewed acceptance. Little things, like the rainy hike day, or huge things, like loss or chronic illness.
You have to keep choosing it.
Yes. And moving in and out of acceptance is totally normal. Don't beat yourself up if you find yourself resisting again. But with practice, the skill gets stronger. You start small, accept the traffic jam, the slow computer, the minor letdown. Each small acceptance builds that muscle.
Like reps at the gym.
Exactly like reps at the gym. It prepares you for life's heavier lifts when they come along. Builds resilience over time.
Okay. And what about forgiveness? People often link acceptance and forgiveness, but they aren't the same thing, are they?
That's a really important distinction. It is not forgiveness. Trying to jump straight from resisting a hurt to forgiving the person who caused it, that's like trying to leap across a canyon.
Too big a jump.
Usually, yes. Acceptance and forgiveness are related, but they do different jobs. Acceptance is about acknowledging the reality of what happened without emotional resistance, primarily for your own peace. Forgiveness is about extending positive intentions, or at least releasing negative ones toward the person who caused harm. It's often a later step.
So acceptance first.
Think of acceptance as clearing the ground. Acknowledge what happened. Release your own internal struggle with it first. Then, when that ground is stable, you can decide if and when forgiveness feels possible or appropriate. You can absolutely accept that something happened without ever forgiving the person involved. Honor each stage. Don't force forgiveness before acceptance has taken root.
That's helpful. Acceptance for yourself, forgiveness might come later or not. And finally, acceptance isn't about whether you like reality or not, right?
Precisely. It is not liking or disliking reality. Remember that image of standing in a river. Attachment pulls you toward the pleasant. Aversion pushes you from the unpleasant. Acceptance is finding that still point right in the middle where neither current sweeps you away.
Like a calm center.
Yes. The wise traditions teach that if you stay centered, you naturally rise, like a cork in water. You stop exhausting yourself, clinging to good stuff and fighting bad stuff. You find this unshakable balance.
So imagine what your life would feel like if you could just meet each moment exactly as it is.
Right. No more frantic grasping for joy or desperate fleeing from discomfort. Just meeting life on its own terms. That's where real, sustainable happiness comes from, not from manipulating external conditions, but from cultivating that inner equilibrium.
Which brings us back full circle to the farmer's wisdom, that balance of I can and I cannot, and maybe even more importantly, I know and I don't know.
Exactly. Fighting life's currents implies we know better, right? That we see the whole picture from our tiny viewpoint.
But we don't.
We really, really don't, the humbling truth. We perceive something like 0.01% of what's actually happening around us. Our senses give us this incredibly narrow keyhole view.
Wow, 0.01%, that's tiny.
It's statistically insignificant. We're like kids peeking through a fence thinking we see the whole park. So often our struggles aren't with life itself, but with our mind's interpretation of that minuscule data point. Remember how different people react to the same traffic jam? One sees disaster, another sees podcast time. Same event, totally different realities created internally.
Our interpretation is key.
It's almost everything. And we need humility to accept our basic protoplasmic limitations, the biological facts of aging, illness, mortality, genetics. Fighting these is like fighting gravity. Michael Singer puts it well. Life unfolds based on forces mostly out of our control.
It's true.
Think back. When we were embryos developing in the womb, did we worry about getting oxygen or nutrients?
No, of course not.
It just happened, orchestrated by forces beyond our conscious control. It was only later, when a thinking mind developed, that we started trying to micromanage everything. What if we could tap back into some of that original trust, that surrender to life's flow.
Reclaim that trust. That's a powerful idea. So connecting this all up beyond just feeling calmer, what are the real-world tangible benefits? Is there solid science behind this, or is it more philosophical?
Well, there's absolutely solid science, and this is where it gets really compelling. Acceptance isn't just some ancient philosophy. It's got serious scientific backing now. Neural imaging studies, like those done at Stanford, actually show that practicing acceptance consistently can physically rewire parts of the brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex.
Wow, rewire.
Yeah, leading to measurable decreases in emotional reactivity. It can even lower levels of the stress hormone cortisol. So it's literally calming your nervous system biologically.
That's huge.
And research consistently shows it works for improving mental and physical health, reducing stress, anxiety, depression symptoms, even physical pain. Its therapeutic use is expanding rapidly, helping with things like psychosis symptoms, eating disorders, addictions, self-harm, suicidal thoughts. The list goes on. It's evidence-based.
It's a real clinical impact.
Definitely. And one immediate benefit people notice is just more emotional stability. Think about a storm in a teacup versus the same storm in the vast ocean.
Right, the ocean absorbs it better.
Exactly. With acceptance, your emotional container gets bigger. Reactions become less intense, they don't last as long, your body's fight or flight system calms down, less cortisol, less adrenaline. Your body literally becomes a more peaceful place to live, which also reduces risk factors for chronic illness.
Most benefits too.
Yes, which leads directly to more freedom and peace, less suffering. People who practice acceptance consistently report feeling lighter, finding relief, discovering a deeper sense of peace. It's no wonder wisdom traditions call it the royal road to freedom.
The royal road.
Yeah. Think about those Buddhist monks stopping their sweeping instantly when the bell rings. It's not just obedience, it's practicing non-attachment, seeing the interruption as a teacher, not an annoyance. And paradoxically, accepting pain often makes suffering more bearable because you drop the resistance. Remember Jesus' words about taking up your cross. That cross symbolizes surrender, acceptance in the face of unavoidable suffering. Not seeking pain, but meeting it with dignity, transforming it from just a burden into part of the path.
Meeting it with dignity. That's profound. But here's the paradox again. If we're accepting things, how does that lead to change? Does acceptance just mean staying stuck, or can it actually fuel transformation?
It's a fantastic question. And the answer is it absolutely fuels transformation. In fact, it's often the key that unlocks it. Carl Rogers, the great psychologist, said it perfectly. It wasn't until I accepted myself just as I was that I was free to change.
Wow. Acceptance first, then change.
Yes. You can't truly move beyond your ego, your limitations, by fighting them like an enemy. Only by meeting them with compassionate, understanding acceptance can you transcend them. Think about it. Trying to change something while actively rejecting it. That creates inner conflict. It blocks the very change you want. Carl Jung agreed. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. It's like trying to drive with the parking brake on. Release the resistance first.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Release the brake.
And acceptance also unlocks crucial life lessons. When we're angry or resisting, we have blinders on. We can't see the whole situation clearly. Exactly. That impairs our ability to act wisely and, just as importantly, to learn from the experience. Acceptance clears our vision. It helps us see difficult situations not just as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. What if life isn't happening to you, but for you?
A shift in perspective.
A huge shift. What if every challenging person is actually a teacher in disguise? Every difficulty, a classroom designed for your evolution. Acceptance opens you up to seeing those lessons.
Okay.
And ultimately, at the highest level of practice, the world ceases to be a problem. When you truly embody acceptance, you find peace with what is. You recognize that your experience is filtered through your own mind. You create your perspective. The situation doesn't dictate it.
You own your reaction.
Yes. As you shift internally, you stop projecting problems out there. You see their roots in your own perception. This doesn't mean ignoring injustice, but you approach challenges from a centered place, responding strategically, not just reacting out of suffering. Remember Rumi.
Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world.
Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. It's about transforming your inner relationship to everything external.
That Rumi quote just lands perfectly every time. Okay, this is all incredibly profound, incredibly helpful. So for someone listening who's inspired to start, how can we weave this into daily life? What are some practical takeaways? Where does the rubber meet the road?
Great question. Let's get practical. One simple but powerful thing is morning intention setting. Start your day by acknowledging it will likely hold both good stuff and challenges. Neither defines you. Set an intention to meet whatever comes with an open heart.
Like setting the compass for the day.
Exactly. You could even use a short meditation. Today I'll practice accepting life as it unfolds. I won't grasp at the pleasant or push away the difficult. I'll aim to stay centered, moving with the flow. Just setting that tone.
I like that. What else?
Pay attention to your acceptance language. Notice your words. Are they full of resistance? They shouldn't be happening. I can't stand this.
Fighting words.
Right. Practice shifting. Try.
Yeah.
This is happening now.
Yeah.
Or, I don't like this, but I can handle it. A really useful trick is adding, and that's okay, to difficult statements. I feel really anxious right now, and that's okay. This project is delayed, and that's okay.
That little addition feels powerful. It acknowledges without judgment.
It creates space.
Yeah.
It tells your mind the feeling or situation is tolerable. It's a small reframe, big impact. Also, use your body as teacher. Your body gives instant feedback on resistance. Tense shoulders, shallow breath, racing heart.
The physical signs.
Use them as alarms. Wake-up calls to practice acceptance. Try this. When stressed, put one hand on your heart, one on your belly. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the rise and fall. With each exhale, mentally say, this too I can hold with compassion.
Softening into it physically.
Yes, softening the resistance in the body. And critically, practice acceptance in relationships. This is often where the biggest challenges lie, right? Because our expectations are so high. Practice accepting loved ones exactly as they are in this moment, not as you wish they were. Now, crucial caveat. This is not about tolerating abuse or disrespect. Ever.
Right. Boundaries are still essential.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But for everyday differences, approach them with curiosity, not judgment. When someone frustrates you, instead of reacting, try silently repeating, this is who they are right now. See how that creates space for connection instead of constant disappointment. It's a radical act of respect.
Respecting their reality, even if you don't like it.
Yes. And finally, look for mini acceptances throughout the day. Life is full of them. Traffic, bad weather, tech glitches, waiting in line, spilling coffee.
The small stuff.
Use these tiny annoyances to strengthen your acceptance muscle. Here's a challenge for you listening. For 1 week, consciously accept 3 minor inconveniences each day without complaint or internal struggle. Just notice them, breathe, accept. See how it shifts your relationship with bigger difficulties over time.
Building the muscle with small reps. I love that.
That's the way.
So to wrap this up then, acceptance isn't about being a doormat or just passively enduring hardship. It's really about meeting every moment with this clear-eyed awareness. It's the fertile ground where real change can actually grow. It's the open palm, ready to receive or let go, not the clenched fist always fighting. It's that farmer's quiet maybe applied to everything.
Beautifully put. In a world obsessed with control, with forcing outcomes, acceptance is truly revolutionary. It's the courage to see reality as it is without distorting it through denial or wishful thinking. And from that honest place, that's where wisdom comes in. That's when we can respond wisely, not just react out of fear or frustration. The journey isn't always easy. We'll slip up. We'll resist again. That's human. But practicing it consistently leads to a life with undeniably more peace, more resilience, more authenticity, because you're finally swimming with the current, not constantly fighting against it.
And like our wise farmer, maybe we can learn to meet each moment with that open maybe. Not desperately chasing the good stuff or pushing away the bad, but just being present for the whole unfolding miracle of existence, whatever it brings.
That's the heart of it.
So here's a final thought for you to take away and maybe chew on. What if the greatest act of control you have isn't actually pushing against reality, but simply allowing it to be and finding your true, unshakable power in how you consciously choose to respond from that space of acceptance?
Something to consider.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into acceptance. We really encourage you to keep exploring this, keep practicing in your own life. Until next time.